on, Belmont. Do it, NaNoWriMo. Do it, NaNoWriMo.
No.
NaNoWriMo.
Really not.
Yeah,
no way.
Novel writing month.
I won't have
I'm so sleepy. I just want to lay down.
Yeah, every night, just 1667 words until you fall right asleep.
Wait, how many pages makes up a novel?
Well, for National Novel Writing Month, the goal is 50,000 words, which is kind of novella. It's on the border between a novella and a novel. But that's their way of saying, we want to get you started. We want to get you on your way to a book.
I can see AT&T Park from here.
I have enough.
I think I'm going to stop calling it Pac Bell Park.
You think it's time?
I think it's time. I think I can call it AT&T. Vin Scully called it AT&T Park. I can't.
He did say the greatest rivalry in sports history.
He also said his favorite player of all time was a Giant.
Yeah. I disagree. I still think that the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry is a bigger rivalry.
It may be.
And a longer rivalry.
The Cubs-Cardinals is a longer rivalry than Red Sox-Yankees. But
yeah, I don't even think people out of that region who don't follow baseball know that the Cubs and the Cardinals have a rivalry.
But that's what makes it so great. It's our rivalry. We don't go around trying to get other people involved. We don't need that.
That's so Midwestern of all of you.
I know. Don't need no outsiders.
The Red Sox are like, we need everybody to know that they're the worst.
Yes, that's very true, isn't it? All right, shall we do the show? Don't you think it's time?
It's time. Okay.
Here we go.
Sure, why not?
The Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by listeners like me. To find out more, visit dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, October 3rd, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Veronica Belmont, because it's Monday and she's a product manager, and we're going to talk robot babies.
Robot babies. Robot babies.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Toyota's announcement. Depending on who you read, it's either a companion for you in the car or a robot baby.
Or a surrogate for the children you don't have.
Right. Or, yeah, in the car or
anywhere, really.
Yeah. Welcome to Daily Tech News Show. I like to think of it as your daily play-by-play that is essential to understanding the world of technology. We will keep you company on your voyage through understanding as technology confuses you. Help me out, Belmont. I'm getting lost in my own metaphor.
It was really good. No, it sounded great.
All right.
Yeah, like the first half, I was like really, I was in. I was
we'll
on
workshop
board.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good feedback. Good meeting. Good meeting, everyone. Let's get into the top stories, shall we? Facebook is launching Marketplace in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and the United States this week. The new section collects listings of products that users are selling. The page will display the listings to you algorithmically, kind of like your news feed. So based on your previous Facebook likes and page visits, etc., it'll say, well, we think you're going to be interested in this stuff that's up for sale. The transactions on Marketplace take place outside of Facebook. So this is like Craigslist. You say, I'm listing this couch for sale, and then we'll figure out where you can pick up the couch and how you can pay me offline. The section launches first on mobile. It's going to replace the Messenger icon, which has just been annoying people by launching the Messenger app instead of actually doing anything. So that goes away. Marketplace goes in there, and a desktop version is in the works, but they don't have that yet.
Yeah, is this going to be the Craigslist killer? I don't know. It seems like that is definitely what they're gunning for.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, I don't know that Craigslist is what it used to be anyway, but it certainly is the default place when you want to sell a couch, which is why I use that. Like, there's other ways to shop for things locally, but nobody's come in and replaced Craigslist. And I guess Facebook's thinking, well, let's just facilitate that. But they're not taking any money. They're not taking a cut of this.
What I find fascinating, though, is I've moved away from Craigslist entirely. If I have something to sell like that, I go on Nextdoor.
Yep.
And I think a big part of that is because you have at least the friend of a friend or person in your neighborhood kind of vibe to it, where you have a little more of a sense of trust in the person with whom you are interacting. And so I think Facebook will probably, help facilitate that same kind of feeling where you at the very least can see the person's real name and where they live and maybe a little bit about them. them, as opposed to it just being a completely faceless, nameless person via Craigslist.
Yeah, Facebook is touting the fact that we've always been adamant that people have to use their real names, and this is why. You'll know who you're dealing with when you sell on Marketplace. I assume that they're going to get the benefit of increased page views. They sell ads if people are using pages more. They'll get the benefit of maybe people deciding to use Facebook Messenger to send payments in places where Messenger is, since like, hey, we're already using Facebook. You obviously have a Messenger account since you also are using Facebook. We can conduct our transaction that way, and then they'll get a little bit of benefit from it.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they didn't launch with that feature. I'm sure there's probably a good reason why they did not. But yeah, you can send money through Messenger, so it would make sense. I mean, maybe you could still do that if you wanted to.
And I guess that actually makes more sense to me, where they're like, there's no barrier to entry. We're not going to force you to use Facebook Messenger, but obviously you can. That's going to be really easy. But yeah, they're not even dropping hints about that. You think they'd say, oh, set up the transaction however you want, but front and center, put, Facebook payments right up there.
Curiouser and curiouser. More Facebook news. They also began rolling out Messenger Lite, a simplified messaging app designed for older Android hardware. The 10-megabyte app will allow messaging, sending, and receiving links and photos, and receiving stickers, but will not support things like video calling and payments. Messenger Lite is rolling out in Kenya, Tunisia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Venezuela, with availability in other countries to follow.
Yeah, this is targeted particularly to parts of the world where there is limited data coverage or low data caps, and people are very cognizant of data usage and don't want to and would never use a Facebook video function anyway. Maybe their phone isn't even really capable of doing that. So this is tailored to the types of phones and the types of data plans available in these regions. And compare it to what Google is doing with data saving for YouTube, with that app we talked about last week. You see Facebook starting to do something beyond Facebook Basics. Facebook Basics is that what used to be Internet.org's effort to zero rate things and say, hey, you won't use any data at all. That has received resistance in in India. So what they're doing here is Facebook saying, fine, well, let's just come up with apps that just don't use a lot of data, and we don't have to get into any of that zero rating controversy.
Exactly.
Sri Lanka, Venezuela, Kenya, Tunisia, and Malaysia. So it's not even just in Africa. It's in various parts of the world. Really, very interesting. We got that big Google announcement tomorrow. And as we were saying in the pre-show, it's kind of like a tsunami to news. If you know a tsunami, when it comes in, it sucks all the water out in advance of it and then pours in. Any big announcement from Google or Apple or anybody tends to suck all the news out in advance of it. But the UK's car phone warehouse decided to fill that gap by accidentally posting a listing of the Google Pixel phones, which honestly, it didn't surprise anyone. So much of this is leaked out already that everyone's like, oh yeah, no, that looks about right. 5-inch Pixel, 5.5-inch Pixel XL, both were pictured with large bezels, fingerprint sensors on the back, support for live cases. You can pull off a case and put on like a Google Maps case, and then you'll have a Google Maps background on your phone, the Google Maps wallpaper, just like in the Nexus phones. Both phones were listed as available in black and white. They didn't have any prices up there, but it sort of confirmed that, this is what the Pixel phones are going to look like.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're also, we've been talking a while about the Google Home announcement, which potentially could be tomorrow as well. And a price point at $129.
That's the leak, which
would
put
at
it
least
cheaper than the Echo. And I'm very interested in how that's going to shape up. We'll have a little.
I said that weird. I said $129. I meant to say $129. It will not be $1.29.
That'd be much cheaper than the Amazon Echo. We're also thinking that we might get a Chromecast Ultra tomorrow, which should have 4K and HDR support and be expensive for a Chromecast at $69. There might be a multi-point router similar to the Eero, some Google Wi-Fi, which would be different than Google's previous Orb router. So kind of a Nexus Pixel split in the router area. And of course, the most intriguingly, we've talked about before, is that Andromeda OS. It'll be interesting to see if and what we hear about that. It's a combination of Android and Chrome OS.
Combo. Maybe they'll put the multi-point routers in the Google Home.
Oh, that would be smart.
Wouldn't that be neat? It would not be that cheap though.
I would go, well, yeah, but you could make it like you can get Google Home on its own for $129, or it's also built in to the new Google Wi-Fi, and that's why it's different than the Orb. Yeah, that would start to make me interested.
We haven't heard of anything like that, though. We're still going to get a Google Home because Ryan's about ready to throttle the Echo, literally and figuratively. But
I hates Alexa too. It's so funny.
I love Alexa. Oh, we're just better people, I think, is what it comes down to.
That must be it. Yeah.
But I do research.
By the way, no, before you get into that, real quickly, it hit me while I was writing this all up earlier today. If you take Android and Chrome OS and you're developing them internally, you are going to naturally start saying, "Hey, that combined thing, Androme." I know I'm late to this party probably, but Andromeda is just.
Whoa! Mind explosion.
I know there's several of you are like, yeah, Tom. No, we thought of that the first day, but anyway.
Ooda. Thanks a lot. Well, you blew my mind. So
happy to blow someone's mind.
Yes. Baidu Research in Silicon Valley released TypeTalk, an Android keyboard Monday that puts voice recognition first, with keys for letters and numbers as a secondary option. TalkType is supposed to be 3 times faster than typing in English, with a 20.4% lower error rate. The numbers come from a survey by Stanford. Baidu Research is led by Chief Scientist Andrew Ng. Dr. Ng co-developed Google Brain and joined Baidu in 2014 to work on Deep Speech, a learning-based speech recognition system. TypeTalk was previously available in preview for the Android Play Store and is now available free in a release version. The company is thinking about launching an iOS version as well.
They should have called it TypeTalk, but it's TalkType.
Did I say TypeTalk?
You said TalkType once and TypeTalk twice, and I have to admit, now that you did that, it's way easier to say TypeTalk than TalkType.
TypeTalk, TalkType, TalkType.
Yeah. But the point, they want to call it TalkType because they're flipping the script and saying, we're not putting a mic button in. We're making your keyboard a mic button.
Right.
And then if you want it, we'll put a key button in. So you press the little ABC key if you want to switch to the key and have a traditional keyboard, and they have swipe gestures and all that sort of thing. But they're saying our voice recognition is so good, you won't want to do that most of the time.
Neat. I would love an iOS version of this.
Yeah, and this is one of the first big products to capture people's attention out of Baidu Research in Silicon Valley. That's Baidu of China, but they're operating a research and development operation in California, and they hired Dr. Andrew Ng away from Google, and so they've been throwing some power at this sort of thing. I'm definitely going to try this out on Android. I have always resisted voice activated stuff because I don't want to have to say what I'm typing out loud.
You're right.
If I'm around other people.
Who would? Why do people do that? I don't know.
In public, it could be embarrassing, but even at home, like if there's just a couple other people doing stuff, it's kind of annoying to be like, so I will call you later, like while I'm typing out.
Period.
Yeah.
Exclamation mark.
Hey, this one's interesting. The town of Summit, New Jersey is testing subsidizing Uber rides to customers traveling to the local train station. The reason they're doing that is they didn't want to spend the money to build and maintain a new parking lot. The parking lot has been getting crowded. It's getting overrun. So what they're doing is making it so that Uber rides will cost $2 each way to and from anywhere within Summit, to and from the train station. And that's the same as an all-day parking permit, which is $4. So if you've already paid for a parking permit, you can take Uber for free. You can use your parking permit to take Uber, and the city pays Uber the difference. If you don't have a parking permit, you still only pay $2 each way, and then the city subsidizes the rest. Test is being conducted with 100 residents who opt into the program. It's expected to cost the city of Summit about $167,000 a year. The estimated cost of building a new parking lot was $10 million. So they can ride that Uber subsidy for quite a while. Yeah.
Yes, more than 10 years.
If you're wondering, Summit is 45 minutes from Penn Station in New York City.
Hold on, I want to do 1, 2, 3 divided by 167.
Oh, you're doing the math on how long $10 million would take to pay out?
60 years.
60 years, right?
60 years.
And by that time, you would need to build a new parking lot again.
Yeah, math is not my strong point.
Yeah, 60 years. So 60 years worth of Uber subsidy. And by the way, that price will either come down, go away, be changed. People won't drive anymore.
Yeah, people won't drive anymore.
Teleporters. I don't know in 60 years, right?
In 60 years, nobody's going to be driving cars around anymore. That's ludicrous.
So
they don't need a parking lot.
Super smart decision.
Really smart.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Financially speaking, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if I had to pick at this, I'd say, well, what about Lyft? And I know this is a pilot program, so maybe they'll expand it and say, yeah, we'll expand it to other ride-sharing providers so that we're not favoring a particular one. But it turns out, according to this BuzzFeed article, this is not unique. Altamonte Springs, north of Orlando, has a similar situation where they're subsidizing rides within their community and to train stations and things like that. Peneus Coast Suncoast Transit Authority near Tampa is doing something like that. Even in San Francisco, there's an apartment and townhome community in Park Merced that gives people $100 in transportation credit that they can use for rideshare.
Wow, that's cool. Park Merced kind of looks scary, but yeah.
Yeah, I want it. It looked. If I recall, when I lived in San Francisco,
I don't want to offend anyone who lives there.
Park Merced looked like it was a really nice place built. It was a really nice building in a not nice place. I don't know. I don't know if that sounds wrong.
Anyway, yeah. This is a great idea. I think we're going to see more and more stuff like that for sure. Ooh,
no, I love that. I love this idea of the partnership between a city and ride sharing. I just want to see more than just Uber benefit from it, but hopefully it doesn't.
They probably, I don't, in my brain I was like, Lyft is probably not going to be around in 60 years. I can see Uber still being around in 60 years.
It won't be if cities keep
picking
contracting with Uber.
Yeah. Researchers, this is a cool story. Researchers at the University of Washington have developed a way to send passwords through your body instead of over the air. Data is delivered from a touchpad held in one hand to a device held in the other. The transmission rides the low-frequency electromagnetic transmissions generated by a device's fingerprint sensor or touchpad. It could be used to transmit passwords to things you touch, like door locks, without risking Bluetooth or Wi-Fi interception. Researchers achieved data transfers of 25 to 50 bits per second, enough for passwords, but could do higher bit rates if manufacturers provided more access to software. The paper was presented in September at UbiComp 2016 in Germany. Yeah,
so they use the transmission that like a fingerprint sensor will use when it's sensing your fingerprint, and that actually does get sent through your body. Your body is a conductor, right? So it doesn't harm you, but it sends a little current that gets carried across your body. They just use that as a carrier wave.
Love it.
Yeah, so you could be
I think that's really great.
Authorizing your phone with your fingerprint, and then that will send that authorization through your body to your door if you're holding your door and unlock it.
Love it. Love it. And it can't even be hacked by chopping off your hand.
No. Well, that's all on the fingerprint sensor side. Yeah, as long as the fingerprint sensor is implemented correctly. Because I guess you could hold the severed hand, and if the fingerprint sensor was authorizing it, then it would go through the hand to you.
I guess so.
So that's a good workaround.
Still a problem. Still a bit of a problem.
Still a problem there. You know, there's bugs to be worked out. But yeah, I love this idea of it's obviously like not the solution to wireless security. I'm not saying it is, but it is.
But you're not saying it's not.
Well, it's a solution to a slice of them. It's a way to say, hey, you know what? Like you don't even have to deal with people snooping and intercepting wireless passwords have used this. There could be other military uses for this. There could be all kinds of uses for this that just say like, hey, I am me. I am one factor, and I'm the second factor is my phone that I'm authorizing. And now I've got the power of authorization in my hand. What can I authorize? What can I touch?
I like that we are the first factor.
Yeah, we are the first factor. Thanks to all those who participate in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And we pay attention to that to find out what to put in the show. So thank you, everyone who participates there. That's a look at the headlines. All right, as we mentioned, Toyota showed off the Kirobo Mini Robot Monday. There was a Kirobo Not Mini, just a regular Kirobo. That was actually sent to the International Space Station and spent a year and a half doing research on how people interacted with robots in a confined space and things like that. Kirobo Mini is very much smaller. It mimics a baby. It wobbles a little while seated, speaks with a high-pitched voice. In other words, they didn't have to spend that much money on the balancing algorithm. It'll sell for 39,800 yen, which is roughly $390 US. Starts selling in pre-orders at Toyota dealerships in Japan this winter, and then will be available for shipping next year. Fortune reports Kurobo Mini's chief design engineer, Fuminori Kataoka, said it is a stepping stone to more advanced robots. Now, Fortune took the tactic of saying, in Japan, where the number of women marrying is going down, the number of babies being born is going down, this is a surrogate baby for people who don't have babies but would like to have them, but don't want to actually have a baby. Toyota, in its press release, kind of is steering you more towards like, this is a partner for you while you drive. It can keep you alert and converse with you. Do you want a robot baby, Veronica? That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
You do. You do want. I see. I didn't think you wanted a robot baby.
Yes. No, the whole reason I work in this industry is because I want a little friend to talk to. I thought everyone had figured that out by now.
This is all just you've been looking for a friend.
I just want a little friend that I can carry with me everywhere and talk to, because otherwise I'm just talking to myself. So I know you said that Veronica hates robot babies.
I was
in
wrong.
the lead into this story, you were wrong. I much greatly prefer a robot baby. And yeah, I greatly look forward to this. I hope to have one. It's basically like a Tamagotchi, except it's an adorable baby robot that sits in your cup holder.
Yeah, it maintains eye contact. It can make gestures. It tracks your facial expression. So it's like Pepper. Like it can read your emotions and adjust accordingly. There's a little machine learning going on. So it tracks your preferences, remembers past events, and adapts its behavior accordingly. So if it said something and you threw it across the room, that's a horrible thing.
It remembers. Yeah, don't throw your robot baby across the room.
It's on display right now at SeaTac Japan, which is going on until October 7th. Well, it's SeaTac actually officially starts October 4th, but it is October 4th in Japan. So
that's true.
Is fair. Okay,
why would you not want this?
It's fascinating on so many levels, right? Like
it can be. I find it very strange that the use case they're kind of latching onto is the whole cup holder thing. Like it keeps coming back to this cup holder use case.
Like they're Toyota Motor Company, so I guess they're trying to be like, hey, you got to go to a dealership. Let's tie it into cars.
But at the same time, it's like it tracks your eye movements and expressions. Don't stare at the baby robot while you're driving. It's probably best that you keep your eyes on the road. Let's just lead off with that.
Yeah, no distracting conversations from the robot baby.
No, I know you shouldn't look at it while you're actually driving. But I think it is nice to have a little friend. I think it could help kids with autism, for example, having conversations and relating to something. Things like Paro, the baby seal, was very useful in helping people with PTSD and treating other kinds of disorders and problems, in the hospital and at home. It's sometimes just having someone to talk to, even if it's not really talking back in a meaningful kind of way, is really nice. And I think it's important. And it helps us get stuff off our chest and have conversations and relate to something.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who listen to the radio or watch television or have pets do so because it makes them feel less lonely if they live alone. And so that's why you're seeing Pepper being marketed for elderly situations where, maybe someone's partner has passed on and they're feeling lonely. This is someone to keep them company. And it's so much more likely to alleviate loneliness in that sense because it can talk back, right? There's a certain point when talking to the TV loses its luster and you realize like the TV doesn't actually care. Now, there's probably that point with a robot too, because you realize this is just a robot. But if it's actually responding to your emotions and adapting, it makes that realization come much farther down the road, I guess.
Yeah, and working in the bot space, I definitely know that people will talk to a bot. They'll say horrible things to a bot. They'll say very nice things to a bot. People just like to talk, and it's fascinating to see.
Yeah, it's that weird thing where people know something's not real, but we tend to anthropomorphize things anyway. So, if we make it easy to do that, then there's all kinds of things. Like so we used to have, but there are the robot pets, which had its day, right? Aibo had its day. and now it's become a hobbyist thing to try to keep your Aibo alive. But there's no more Aibos being made, and now we've moved on to people, like babies and small people. Is there another level past that? Like, do we?
What do you mean?
Like, do we just have whole robot families in the future? Like, it's gone from pets to babies. The next thing is just like everyone's a robot, and then the singularity comes when we download our consciousnesses to them. I guess I don't know.
Well, I think it'll get to the point where there is a robot in your home that feels kind of like a member of the family. It's not necessarily replacing a member of the family, but it feels like part of your family, the way maybe as much as a dog does, or a cat or a pet. So I think we'll be there in our lifetimes.
Yeah, and then then your dystopic take on that is no one talks to humans anymore because you've got all of these robots.
I just think, or maybe we just talk to
you. They don't turn on you. By the way, this is perfect for Westworld premiere.
Yes, it is. Well, maybe they don't turn against us, but maybe we talk to people more because we're getting the useless stuff out on the robot, or the frustrating stuff, or telling the robot, they say how, when like the Renaissance happened because we were free to be able to give have artistic expression because we weren't all dying or in wars anymore for a little bit or less. Maybe it'll be like that. Maybe when we don't have to worry about fighting about chores or things like that, maybe we'll have more time to spend with our families and make deeper connections.
Well, and that was the worry, pulling it right back. That's such a good point. The worry about the internet was it will isolate everyone because you won't have to go outside anymore, right? You won't have to meet people. And what it has done, it has made us more social to the point where the fact that we are a socially awkward species is a big problem on social networks right now.
Yes.
And it's also causing people to get together in real life. Cons have never been bigger. Like conferences that bring people together have never been bigger. And part of the driving force behind that is people getting to know each other online and then wanting to have a chance to meet in person. So yeah, I could see that becoming like, yeah, I've got my robot family, but it's just my robot family. It's only good for this much.
Right.
And it means that I actually, when I meet real people, I treat them better and I get more out of that relationship. That's really interesting. I hadn't even thought about that.
You're welcome.
Anytime, says Veronica. Our message of the day, I'm going to pull it out of our Slack, which anybody who supports the show at $1 an episode, $20 a month on our Patreon, can get access to the Slack. We just had 19 new people join that analyst level, and there's some good conversations going in there. Going back to talking about Google Home, which we expect to be announced tomorrow, Michael linked to a Boing Boing post from Cory Doctorow that was referencing a Variety article that said in the lead up to launching Google Home, Google was meeting with manufacturers to get them to develop things that include Google Cast, right? So integrate Google Cast into your speaker system so that it can play with Google Home and you can cast audio to it, et cetera. Google is said to have told home audio vendors that they wouldn't be allowed to add other digital assistants, a la Alexa, to their hardware if they wanted to continue to use Google Cast. So this was portrayed by Cory Doctorow as like, hey, this is the next step to just locking down all of your home information under DRM. They're saying, hey, manufacturers, exclusivity, and it's going to wall off the marketplace. Scott said that Google move seems quite foolish. Amazon already has a fairly dominant position in that market, so why the harsh stance? I hate when artificial divisions are caused by knuckleheads who thought they had a good idea. Does the Google offering, Google Home, support countries where Amazon is not present? That's the only reason I could see to maybe go down that path. And Chris added, I'm guessing that Google is attempting to protect access to some of their products, Chromecast, for instance, but it seems to be contrary to those products. The Chromecast is not restricted from Amazon Fire Stick developers. Like if I develop an app that can work with Fire Stick, I'm not prevented from having it work with Chromecast. He says, or is it? I'm not a developer. No, Chris, you're right. It's not restricting consumers. It's not restricting developers. It's restricting manufacturers, it's trying to get people to make products that don't support competing systems.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be, that'll be definitely interesting, especially with, with companies like Sonos adding in Alexa integration, and we're definitely starting to see a big divide amongst these services, which is problematic for a lot of people because I want to use bits and pieces of all of them.
Not to mention, Google is just setting up a lawsuit in the European Union with this.
There you go. Yeah.
Like anytime they have exclusivity in anything, the European Union cries antitrust and goes after them. Now, some of these things I think are reasonable and some of them aren't, but you wouldn't think Google would want to skate so close to that line as often as they do. But
Yeah, that's a very good point.
well, thank you to the folks in the Slack for that, and all the people who email us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And thank you, Veronica Belmont, for joining us as always. What you got going on?
Not a whole lot. We are starting a new book over on Sword and Laser. So if you want to come join the Golem and the Genie with us by Helene Wecker, you can do so by heading over to swordandlaser.com. The book is over on the right-hand navigation. Come hop in the conversation with us. It'll be fun. It's a great book.
I've been enjoying it a lot so far. If you like Gola and Jinn, jump on in to the Golem and the Genie. Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. dailytechnewsshow.com/support is the page that explains all the various ways. And of course, the main way is Patreon, patreon.com/DTNS. Thanks to new Patreon backer, Aaron Vanderpool. Aaron, the newest DTNS boss. And Greg Mendezabel just upped his pledge today. So thank you, Greg, as well. And everybody who supports the show. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can catch the show live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website's dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Patrick Beja. We're going to cover the Google stuff. And he's got some thoughts on Twitch and Amazon's new Prime system. All that and more tomorrow. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Robot babies!
Robot babies!
You led me to believe you did not prefer robot babies. And yet, you do.
Oh.
It's just like a real baby, except no diapers to change, and they don't really grow.
Right. So
Is he calling me? Did you just call me a baby?
Like
Did you just call me a baby?
Wait,
I
who?
don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Me? I didn't call
Yeah.
you a baby.
No, he said robots are just like real babies, except no diapers to change, and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Selective hearing. Jen has that. Right, show titles. Robot Baby on Board.
I liked Robot Baby on Board.
Baby Bot, Ass Words.
I didn't get ass words.
Because this actually goes back to a conversation that was had outside of the show, but Dark Redeemer said, oh, so if your password is transferred through your body and you just sit on the sensor, passwords.
Okay, gotcha. Ass words. Okay,
Get it?
I
as
get
you're
it.
saying, yeah.
I get it now.
Don't talk the talk if you can't type the type. Cry Robot. Robot Baby Buggy Bumpers.
I like that one too. Robot baby buggy bumpers. Robot baby buggy bumpers. Robot baby buggy bumpers.
Body
Red
Crypt.
leather, yellow leather.
Do you want a robot baby? Veronica wants a robot baby. Platonic robot companions coming now. Baby Zoomer. Do robot babies go through the terrible tens? Oh, I get it. Twos. Get it?
Oh, because binary.
Yes. 1 zeros.
I like how Bioka did two versions, the terrible 10s and the terrible 0010s.
That's funny.
A beautiful 4-bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd go 4-bit on that. Do robot babies go through the terrible 0010s?
Yep.
0010s.
It's Ellie's going through those. She's
The
coming up to it.
0010s?
It's close to it. It's getting ornery. She's also really strong. When she slaps you, like,
Oh, is she preternaturally strong?
I don't know. It's my
She has
first child,
superpowers?
so I normally didn't go around picking up
Did you
babies
have
to
a
test their
super
strength.
baby?
Although that would be very interesting. Excuse me, ma'am. I'm going to borrow your kid here for a minute.
Forget the Gerber stuff, man. If you've got a super baby.
What are they? Strong
Super
man
big
competition? Strong
puppets.
baby competition.
What'd you say, Veronica?
I was just saying super baby buggy
Super
Buggy
bumper.
bumpers.
What's a
super
buggy
baby
bumper?
Like on a baby buggy.
Oh, okay.
There's a little bumper so if you bump into something, it absorbs the shock. like a shock absorber for baby
I
buggies.
gotcha.
Do people have baby buggies anymore though? It's all strollers now.
Yes.
I don't know what the difference is between a buggy and a
Buggy's
stroller.
like a shopping cart, like a small shopping cart that your baby
Oh.
lays down in.
Well, a lot of them are like the one I have is a convertible. You put the car seat in it, so it's like a buggy, but you can pop it out and just put them seated into it, and it's a stroller. I mean, it's the same basic frame.
Yeah. All right, guys. Pick which one you like.
Robot baby on board, or do robot babies go through the terrible 0010s?
That's kind of long. That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
robot baby on board is more title friendly, I guess.
Robot baby.
Yeah.
It's easier to do.
Baby, puppy, papa, 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 papa. I wish I was at the White House Day for Technology.
I got to meet with a person who worked for the White House and talked about technology once.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't listen to anything I said, but
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say something, Tom?
yeah, that's kind of the. No, it was more like, that's really interesting. We'll take a note on that. And then there was no effect of, like, most of the people in the room were saying like copyright law is overreaching and it's really chilling innovation.
Mhm.
White House never said did it. But hey, at least they listened or pretended to.
At least they listened. All right.
All right. Thank you, V.
I'm going to head out.
You
I will
have a good one.
Thanks. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Robot baby buggy bumpers. So, like, do they even sell baby buggies?
Like the old style, like the ones
Yeah.
Nah, I haven't seen any really. They're all convertible because kids grow, and the last thing the parent wants to do is buy something that they're going to have to buy
But
again.
baby buggies were so big, I assume that you could use them through the majority of the childhood.
Well, part of it is that they're kind of like if you get something that you can collapse and stuff, it's already you're like 60% of the way there of just a convertible stroller. It's like, why don't you just build a stroller that converts? And then you can sell them all the accessories. That's the big one.
And
Accessories.
yes, a pram, Dark Redeemer and BioCow, a pram and a baby buggy are roughly the same thing. Yeah. The other thing is babies just looked up at nothing in a buggy.
They're supposed to be looking at your face if they're okay. If not, then they're probably looking at Mars.
But with strollers, they look forward and they actually see the world.
Unless they're sleeping and they don't see anything.
No, yeah, that's true. Tensor Guy says some of the highest end ones convert to a full baby bed.
Yeah,
that's like the first class seats of international travel.
See, a lot of that, I mean, there's a limit before it just becomes more of a, like, oh, look how much I can spend versus what it actually accommodates and helps with my child. Although a bed would be nice, I guess. I don't know, but would you really want to push a baby around that's fully in bed? Why don't you just leave him in bed and then take him out? Like at around 2 years where Ellie's at, she just wants to walk everywhere because she can walk.
So GPEG found a Bed Bath & Beyond link for a stroller, but it's got the 4 wheels and really does look like a traditional buggy. Actually, GPEG is right. It looks more like a wheelbarrow.
This baby buggy was manufactured in the late 1930s. Antique, vintage, or retro? Oh, JPEG. Oh, this one. Sorry, wrong links. Wrong link.
Tensor Guy says also those old buggies would eat people, which is.
Oh yeah,
true.
see that's kind of what I have, except that does it
the
pop
buggy
off?
that eats people?
No, the Bugaboo buffalo tailored fabric.
Ah, that's the collapsible one.
Well, yeah, I think this one personalized, distinctive matching sun canopy bassinet. See, like the bassinet should be removable, I assume, because mine essentially takes the car seat. It kind of makes it in. It's not a real bassinet. It's just a car seat on your stroller, but it acts like a bassinet because they sleep in it. Just want a robot stroller that takes care of my kid while I'm like busy.
I think prams are going to make a comeback. That's what I think.
I think they'll be convertible. I think they'll have to be somewhat automated too. Like they can wheel your child in.
hydraulic, self-driving hydraulic prams.
And then just say, "Where's my kid?" And then the robot pram would just wheel itself in.
I am here with your child.
It is alive.
And in perfect hibernation. Wait, what? I'm gonna upload the show, and I hope I do it right. I mostly don't mess it up. I don't know if I have how many 9s of reliability I have, though. Do you?
How many 9s?
Yeah, you know, like 5 9s.
I don't know. I'm half awake. I just had awful nightmares of filling out forms.
Yeah. Is the paperwork starting to haunt your dreams?
Well, it's so weird because in my dreams, I was signing my thing, and then I started noticing as I was going through the forms, they circled back around, like stuff I thought I had signed wasn't signed, and I had
The
to sign it.
never-ending forms. No.
Oh, it's just so horrible.
No.
I used to have nightmares about finals too, and then I took them.
Kind of that same thing.
I was kind of surprised at how well I did on my chemistry final.
All right, no need to brag.
No, I got like a 43 out of 100, but because
Don't brag about your chemistry final. How many years later?
So 43 out of 100 is not anything anyone would brag about. However, because
did you not write home about it?
Because Mr. Riley graded on a sliding, or not sliding scale, but a bell curve. No one else. I think the highest score was like a 55 on that test.
So that 43 is not bad, actually.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, God damn, this test. Oops, sorry, I can't say that on the air.
Roger, yeah, and a father too.
I know. You know, I learned all my initial swear words from my dad, especially when he was driving.
Fine tradition.
It is. It's a fine. See, that's one of the things that people will miss when cars can self-drive. You won't have that level of, frustration, honking and screaming at people.
Another fine tradition that your dad passed on to you? Is that what you're saying?
Cut me off.
I was texting with my mom because we were both sad that the Cardinals didn't make it into the playoffs. And she was a big baseball fan growing up. She got that from her dad, my grandpa. And apparently he got that from his dad, my great grandpa. And I didn't know this, but my grandpa used to live near Sportsman's Park in St. Louis and would wander over and peek through the fence to see the game, which was the origin of the term the Knothole Gang. He was one of those kids.
Oh. What will I bequeath my daughter? Lewd language.
It sounds like it.
Short temper. Love of pies.
Love of pies. Oh my gosh. We have to go to Burger and Pie then.
Pies. Oh, I love pies so much. We went apple picking. I didn't realize we picked 4 pounds of apples. Like, when you start picking them, you just
get the groove, getting that apple picking groove.
Like, oh, this looks pretty good. I didn't realize we picked that many. I thought I picked like 4 or 5, but we had 4 pounds of apples. And now we got to figure out to do something with them. Plus, we got all these Chinese pears or Asian pears.
You can't say that. That's not okay.
Asian pears? That's what the hipster white guy at the farm was telling me.
Where are they? What makes them Asian pears? Are they from?
Yeah, they're from Asia.
Oh, okay.
They're the big round ones.
But what part of Asia?
I believe they are from like the area of southern China, Vietnam, maybe all the way down through Southeast Asia. It's a tropical fruit-ish.
Gotcha.
They're really good. It's just
I've seen them on sale at Ralph's, but they're ridiculously expensive. So I never.
They're like $2 each, right?
Yeah. I mean, I could buy one. I wouldn't break the bank, but apples are 99 cents a pound. So
on the website I was given to go, it said they would give you 3 gallons of freshly pressed apple cider from the apple farm, but they didn't have any because
they're out.
I guess they didn't get around to pressing them, but they had boxes of Asian pears instead. It's like, all right, so can't drink this.
It's supposed to make up for it.
I was looking forward to the cider. I like cider.
I do like a good apple cider.
little kick in it. Let it ferment a little bit.
Not just hard cider. I do like a good hard cider as well. It's my drink of choice these days.
Is it?
You know, yeah.
For the sophisticate who doesn't want to get.
When I'm out. Well, because beer I love, don't get me wrong, but it just weighs me down more than cider.
I've never liked beer. I just don't like
you're
the
not a
taste.
drinker, so yeah.
Well, see, it's weird because I'll drink Rolling Rock because it tastes like nothing, and I'll like Heffenweisen because there's like a non-beery taste to it.
Yeah, it's kind of a fruity taste.
But everything else, I just like. It just doesn't taste good to me. And then like this Guinness and ale. What is Guinness? A lager, right?
Stout.
Stout.
Lager is the lighter.
Okay. See, I don't know anything about beers. That's my one weakness. My Achilles heel is my beer knowledge. Like I tried to go through a pint of that, and I ended up getting 5 extra pints of water. Just made me so thirsty.
Well, on that note, we are out of here. Thank you all for watching or listening. You guys are the best. We will see you later.